Welcome to The Explainer. Have you ever been in one of those big company meetings, the ones where a bold new strategy gets announced with all this fanfare, and then a few months later, it's like it never even happened? Poof, gone. It's a super common story. But why? Why do so many great-sounding strategies just vanish into thin air? Okay, let's get into it.
And boom, this quote right here just nails it. It's not about a lack of good ideas. It's not about a lack of ambition. The real breakdown, the point where it all falls apart, is in the translation. It's when that big, beautiful vision doesn't get properly translated down to the people who are supposed to make it happen.
So let's start with the problem itself. It all begins with something I'm sure you'll recognize, what we can call the headline strategy trap. The strategy that sounds incredible in a PowerPoint deck, but is really just a headline.
I mean, we've all heard these, right? We're going to be leaders in customer experience. We're going to transform the culture. They sound so powerful, so decisive. But here's the thing. On their own, these aren't strategies. They're just headlines. And their actual value is pretty much zero until the real work begins. And this is the absolute core of the issue. A strategy isn't good because it sounds good. The only test that matters is whether it can be turned into real, concrete, tangible actions that people can take every single day. If it can't, it's just words on a slide.
So what happens when that strategy stays a headline? Well, it doesn't just fade away peacefully. Oh no. It sets off this chaotic, dangerous cascade of confusion that ripples through the entire company.
At first, the failure is kind of passive, People nod along in the meetings. The fancy phrases get copied and pasted into emails, but nobody really gets what it means. They just accept it because, hey, it came from the top. But because it's so vague, it either gets done badly or, more often than not, it just doesn't get done at all.
And this is where it gets really dangerous. The problem starts to spiral. Be more efficient means one thing to the sales team and something totally different to the engineers. Every leader passes the message on through their own personal filter, and every team is just left trying to figure it out. And this is when individual interests and, yes, egos can completely hijack the whole plan.
Okay, so that sounds like a total mess, right? But the good news is there's a really clear solution. To stop all this confusion, you need a specific, deliberate process. This is the art of strategic translation.
Right, so here's the key. You don't just announce the strategy and then hope for the best. You have to schedule a dedicated translation session. And this is not just another boring meeting. Think of it more like a hands-on workshop. Its entire purpose is to turn that high-level fuzzy goal into a concrete plan that everyone actually understands.
And this translation has to happen in layers, kind of like a waterfall of clarity. It starts at the top, right? The C-suite defines the what, the big picture goal, like gain efficiency. Then that gets past the middle management, and their critical job is to translate that into the how, the specific decisions that need to be made. And finally, that how goes to the teams who turn it into actions, the clear, measurable tasks they can actually do.
Now, this all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually do it? What do you ask in one of these sessions to make sure the translation really works? Well, we've got a fantastic toolkit for that.
These 5 questions are the absolute heart of the process. They force everybody to get out of the abstract and into the specific. See how it drills down from the department to the team all the way to an individual's role. And that last question, how will we ensure personal egos don't hijack the strategy? Man, that is pure gold. Actively planning for that is a total game changer.
But when it comes down to it, the real antidote here isn't just a process. It's a whole new mindset. It's about having leaders who are willing to actually chew on an idea, not just swallow it whole.
There's this great little story about an architecture professor who said this: buildings don't fall down because they tend not to fall down. It sounds kind of absurd, right? But just think about it for a second. There's a natural inertia that just keeps things standing.
And that is the hidden trap in so many big companies. Just like those buildings, a lot of companies stay afloat just because of inertia, not because of some brilliant strategy. They're basically coasting on luck. But here's the thing about strategy. Luck always,
always runs out. A tiny misinterpretation today can grow into something that completely sabotages the entire plan tomorrow.
So to stop relying on luck, you need a different kind of leader. Not just an executor who blindly follows orders. You need what the source calls a second-level strategist. This is someone who doesn't just swallow information, they chew on it. They really understand the core idea, the essence of the strategy, so they can adapt it intelligently for their team instead of just repeating a headline.
So, let's bring it all home. The big, shiny headline? Yeah, that's great for inspiration. But inspiration is not transformation. Only the detailed, layer-by-layer translation can do that. Because look, if a strategy isn't understood, it's not going to get executed. And a strategy that isn't executed, well, it's just a ghost in a PowerPoint deck. It doesn't really exist at all.
And that really just leaves us with one final question to think about. How is strategy handled where you work? Is it really translated, discussed, and understood at every single level? Is it actually chewed on? Or is it just swallowed whole? The answer to that question tells you pretty much everything you need to know about its chances for success. Thanks for watching.